Right, well, we're watching British Parliament live. Jacob Rees-Mogg is speaking now. And it's today that they're making all the new rules, which apparently are going to last for 2 years. And they all should be in by tonight, which is what our policeman friend said, Thursday. And lockdown starts over the weekend. So, yeah. This is Parliament live in London. For those who are at work and aren't getting the chance to watch it, I watch it quite a lot actually. They slip all these new rules and regulations in. Yeah, you know that. A couple of years ago they slipped one in for the social services where they can take your children away from you. It's all closed courts. So, for instance, I take a big interest in this because I adopted a lot of kids and rescued them from the social services. I didn't officially adopt them, but at that time, if their parents were not being able to cope, then their parents could write a letter putting the children into my care, and then that would stop the social services from being able to take them. Well, they've taken that liberty away. You are no longer allowed to privately adopt children. You're no longer allowed to privately, not adopt, foster children. You can no longer leave your children unofficially with relatives. You have to, or friends, you have to inform the government and the social services now, and they will come in and take those children away. Now, for instance, the new law they brought out. Let's see what he's saying. Very important that Parliament continues to sit. The position of Her Majesty's government is that they've all had a wage increase, by the way. They're all getting paid over like £100,000 a year, and free bar in the Houses of Parliament, so you can get as pissed as you want, all for free, plus all your lunches. Plus, if you don't live in London, they pay for your accommodation to be in London. And we all know about how they kept Jimmy Savile and all that quiet, and yeah, there's a lot going on. So yeah, let's get back to this children's thing. So, because I watch Parliament all the time, I'm a bit Asperger's type, I suppose. I like to get into everything, so I listen to it all the time. And a couple of years ago, they brought out a new law. So, for instance, if one of your children or your children should be taken ill, or there's a problem, or they have a car accident, anyway, if they should die or not be capable of looking after their children, it used to be that the first people that they would turn to would be the grandparents, and then if not, then the parents' siblings, you know, brothers and sisters, aunties and uncles, and they would be able to take the children. Well, you know what? They stopped all that. Now, they have control over those children and they can take them away. And there is nothing that you can do about it. You can't get into the closed courts because they're closed family courts. It's decided by the judge. I'm not going to make accusations to judges because I don't want to get in trouble, but it's decided by the judge that these children will go to wherever it is they're going to. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but I can tell you that foster parents are employed by limited companies, by agency companies. So, and there's an awful lot of agency companies out there that employ foster parents to look after children. Well, to run any company, you need suppliers. Otherwise, that company runs out, goes bankrupt. So you have to supply the companies with produce, and the produce they're supplying are people's children. So, yeah, you know that. You know that. It's craziness. I mean, I've been aware of this for years and years and years and years and years. And I'll tell you one day why I'm aware of it. But and I'll introduce you to some of my foster kids. And you listen, most of my foster kids are boys. And when they came to me, they had a choice. You either go into social services care or you come to me. And when you came to me, I mean, the rules and everything were different then to what they are now. Nowadays, you're not allowed to tell your kids to go to their room and stay there until you tell them to leave. That's imprisonment, you know. And anyway, the rules in my house is I'm going to ask you to be in at 9 o'clock. I'm going to give you until 9:30. Because come 9:30, I know you're a good boy, because I had mainly boys. I know you're a good boy. So if you haven't come home by 9:30, someone's stopping you from coming home. So I'm going to get in the van and I'm going to come looking for you. But if I find you on the corner with your mates and no one's tried to kidnap you and you're just taking no notice of me, then do you know what? You're getting in that van. Whether you're getting in through the passenger seat or you want to argue with me and I'll throw you in the back, you're coming home. And when I tell you to go to your room, you stay there until I come and talk to you. And do you know what? Amazingly, all these boys that are now in their, they're in their 40s now, late 30s and 40s, they all come and visit me. They've all turned out okay. And they all say to me, do you know what? We needed someone that was going to be strong. We needed a leader. And you told us, you listen, I'll say this again and again and again. There's three ways in life. There's three ways in life. You can go with the flow and work in a factory or an office all of your life, work for someone else and get nowhere. The only person that's ever going to get anywhere is the person that owns that business. They ain't going to be worrying about you while you're working away and they're sitting next to their big boy or they're on holiday. They ain't going to be worrying about you, mate. Or you can go against the law and you can become a criminal, and that's never going to work out because you're always going to get caught. Or you're going to do what these lot do on Parliament. You're going to do what these lot do. You use the law to your advantage. You use the law to your advantage. So do you know what, right? Wise up. Don't do blatant criminal things. But don't be so honest that you cut your own throat. Because these lot ain't honest. They rip us off again and again and again and again and again. And every time there's a bit of dirt on them, it gets swept under the carpet and we don't hear anything about it. And the good thing about it is that people are beginning to step up now. They're beginning to say the truth. One of my good friends and a truther is E17 singer Brian Harvey, and I've known him since he was a kid, and he started screaming out the truth and they slaughtered him. But you know what, the truth that he speaks, it's all coming out the wardrobe now, it's all coming out the closets.
Perhaps millions of people approaching the DWP for benefit.
Well, the DWP. What are these people going to do? What are they going to do? Most people are on zero contract hours. So they've got no money coming in. That's the economy of the UK, of Europe nowadays. All of the major... When I was a kid, you left work, you know, you left school, you started your job. We had so many factories, just in Walthamstow alone. And if you didn't like the job that you started this week, you can leave that job and go and start another job next week. That's not the situation now. Nowadays, you're down to, delivering pizzas. And it's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. So all these people that are going to be out of work, like the video I did yesterday on all the shops, what are these people going to do? If you go on the unemployment, it takes 6 to 8 weeks, if you're lucky, to get any money. The food bank places... after I did the video yesterday, I was chatting to someone that works in a food bank, and they said there's no food in the food bank. And no one's helping anyone. So,
considering what steps can reasonably be taken that allow things to be done remotely.
I think it
remotely. Right. Loads of people cannot afford to have internet.
There are options, and they are
You know, believe it or not, they cannot afford to have internet in the house. They're restricted on their phone bill. A lot of people are pay-as-you-go still. So if you pay-as-you-go, that means that you're going to soon use your credit up on your internet time. Or, alternatively, which most people do, is they go to a bar or a restaurant and use free Wi-Fi. Or they go to the library. So if you're taking that away from everyone, how are these people are supposed to get in contact with you?
Yes, it doesn't seem to be so widespread a problem as to.
And what about all the people that are living in bedsits?
Ignoring this point. On the universal basic income, the government is willing to consider all ideas, and lots of ideas are coming in. I would say on this, the priority is to proceed with things that can be implemented.
And most parents, the kids are going to school and they rely on free school meals. Whether there's two parents or one parent, they're all on such low wages, they're relying on free school meals. So if the children are not going to school, that means they're going to have to spend more money on shopping. And we've been put in a situation now where people are out there bulk buying because we're about to be told we're all going to be locked down. And they don't have the money to go out there and bulk buy. They don't have the money to do it. So what is going to happen? We're going to have a load of starving kids?
Is in the bill coming
I mean,
to the House today.
third world country.
Other things that we need to legislate on.
And these lot don't care because they're sitting pretty, aren't they? They're all on their big wages.
And nothing will be done without consulting the opposition parties, and I emphasise plural.
David Davis. I say to my right honourable friend that I think the opposition has a serious point in terms of the duration of the emergency legislation. Particularly given that it appears we're only going to debate it for 1 day.
One day.
There's a qualitative difference between a single-day debate.
1 day. 1 day of debate. And the majority of that debate is going to be, we're bringing the army out, we're telling people they can't go out. If they do go out, we'll take their name and address. Then they'll go on the list. And if we see them again, they'll go on the red list, which means that if they get ill, they're not going to be treated by the doctor or the hospital. But the 1 day debate is giving 5 minutes to people that are going to have no money coming in,
With support in this House, emergency legislation
no food,
is best done and
can't go to work because their kids are not at school.
when there is a very widespread consensus. So his point is a very important one. I can't, unfortunately, and I think wouldn't be right of me, to try and say what proceedings will be in another place. I think that would be slightly impertinent of me to say what their lordships will do.
Slightly impertinent of what their lordships will do. Well, the lordships ain't going to invite you round their house, are they? They ain't going to get a van load of food with their £100,000 a year jobs and load it all up into a van and pop round your house. They ain't going to do that. They're not going to give like £1,000 each to a food bank place. It ain't going to happen.
I've spoken with both club chairmen yesterday.
It ain't going to happen.
And they're very worried.
And these laws they're bringing in for 2 years.
As a result of COVID-19. Can we please have a statement from a minister on what plans?
And the thing is what they're doing is they're saying, don't go to restaurants, don't go to bars, don't this, don't that. Now they're saying they're advising you not to do it. Now that puts everyone in a situation, if your business is a restaurant or a cafe or a pub or a bar or making music or anything to do with that, then your insurance company's going to say, well, you know, if your customers don't turn up, that's not our fault. The government hasn't said you have to close. So people are being left in a situation where they're neither here nor there because people are not going to their restaurants. It's like the restaurant across the road. All that money they've spent refurbishing it, week after, the government's saying, oh, don't go to restaurants. They haven't said we are officially closing restaurants so that restaurant across the road can claim on its insurance for no business. I mean, it's an indefinite period.
On what we do to help the childcare sector through this very difficult period to ensure that we have a successful, thriving and high quality nursery provision for the years ahead.
Yes, Mr. Deputy Speaker, there are inevitably concerns following the announcement yesterday.
Do you reckon Rees Moggs has ever
take place?
just relied on
The
school
government
dinners?
is working with providers of all levels of education
I wonder.
to ensure that they are aware of the
I wonder.
situation and that they are helped to cope through it. And I understand
Cope
there will
through
be
it.
further announcements being made
Cope
during the
through
course of today.
Lillian Greenwood.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, will he take this opportunity
And most people
to thank
won't even get sick
everyone
pay.
working on our transport networks, on our buses and trains, driving delivery vehicles and so on? And does he recognise that there are real concerns about the impact on the reduction in passenger flights, not only the impact on
Yeah, the airports.
travel businesses,
I mean, they've closed, and they've said to the airport staff, "Oh, do you know what? You're all going to have to take leave, but we're not paying you. We're not giving you any money."
Statement from the Secretary of State for Transport so that we can raise this and many other concerns.
Anyway, do you know what? I've got to go and sort out this van. So,
Yes, of course,
can't
I would
keep
be willing to
listening to,
thank, everybody in the transport
can't keep
sector
listening to
who
this,
is
can we?
working so hard. It
So,
is,
there you go.
Interesting to note that in terms of how society has developed, the delivery drivers for supermarkets are unquestionably key workers who are playing an incredibly important role, particularly with those who need to stay at home.
Well, my lorry driver friend who delivers to supermarkets says nothing's moving. Nothing's moving.
And the work they are
You got lorries stuck all over the place.
for people to carry on with their lives as far as possible. So it's very
Carry on with your life.
As regards the flows of trade in the
I can't believe it. 65 million people in the UK. 104 have died of coronas.
Many of them will need to be written statements.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate that we've got to be wary of all this. But coronas hasn't just turned up on the scene. It's been on the scene for a long while.
The front bench spokesman for the Scottish National Party.
What about all the people that are dying from MRSA and C. diff? They go into the hospital, have an operation, come out with MRSA and C. diff. You know what? Your kid falls over, your child falls over in the garden, needs 2 stitches or 1. You take them to the hospital, get them stitched up. A couple of weeks later, you're back at the hospital or the doctors because the wound won't heal and they've caught C. diff or MRSA.
Provide some democratic oversight of how these powers are being exercised.
Craziness.
If I may, Mr. Deputy Speaker, perhaps it's
Crazy.
helpful to explain how we came to agreement on Westminster Hall being suspended, to give an example of how we are intending to work. That there was a letter from the Clerk of the House to the Speaker. The Speaker consulted me. I consulted with the Right Honourable Lady and with the representatives of the Scottish National Party. We
Right, we'll listen
consulted
to enough of this. Gotta
the
go.
chairman of the
Kobe's
most
asleep again.
relevant select committees, and then we came forward.
He'll
with
soon
the
wake
motion.
up once we get
It
down
is
to the
very
kids.
important that what we do for select
Yeah, I've got a
committees
surprise for you there,
similarly
everyone, when I video
has
it.
cross-party
So, yeah,
support
bye-bye
and
to
consensus across this
the
House. Because I
Parliament.
think
So,
for,
yeah, on the
the
19th
Leader
of March,
representing the government
House of
to come
Commons.
forward with proposals for how select committees
So,
should operate,
speak to you later.
people, might
Love you
think
lots.
that
Love
is
yourself
designed
more.
not to
Bye-bye.
enhance, but to reduce